episode of Gundam Reconguista NG was one of the most simple but important episodes of the entire series, filled to the brim with a lot of awesome mobile suit space battles. But this week's entire story can really be boiled down to the American army is fighting with the Capital Army for control of the top of the space elevator Sankt Porto, and all getting ready for the big invasion from this mysterious force from the moon, which is clearly the biggest development from this week's episode. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all that happened this week. However, there was a lot of build-up and a lot of really big flashy animation and battles. And I really loved the brand new mobile suits that both Mick and Klimnik were actually using, which looked like an even more upgraded version of the typical grimoires that we've actually seen from the American army. And it might be like something brand new they just decided not to give a name to. Maybe I missed it through all of the ridiculous Gundam and space jargon that was in this week's episode. But it still looked really cool and everything just looked really fantastic in the battle. But really, it's that final scene that sort of sets the tone for the rest of the series, because the American army has actually captured the very top of the space elevator, and they actually have the Pope in there, and even Colonel Kumpa, and even Bellry's mother, and all like the main big players are actually in one room at the very end of the episode, and it almost seems like negotiations are going to be underway when suddenly they pan out to the moon and there's this massive space force which is coming for them. And I can't help but be reminded of the Zeon warships when I see them, because they do have that same green color. But what I think is most interesting about this brand new third party is that they actually might be the survivors of the Universal Century, who've simply been living and hiding in waiting for their moment of invasion. And apparently they've been on the moon for quite some time. There is attention to detail when you actually see the moon for that one time. It doesn't look like there's like a settlement there, and it looks like they've been building there for quite some time. So I really can't wait to see what this third party is going to do for this series, because I honestly still have no idea where it's going. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Gundam Reconguista NG? It was okay. It's really going to be remembered for all the developments that were happening at the very end, and of course for the very flashy, awesome-looking mobile suit battles, which, just like the previous episodes, look really great. This is a very high-quality, great-looking anime mecha show, which has some great mecha designs, which not only happen to be new and fresh, but really exciting. And that's saying a lot, because Gundam has been around for a very long time. My biggest complaint still stands with the series. I still think it's a little confusing, and the character of Araya isn't really doing anything. And that really could be argued for a few of the other characters. There really isn't all that much development for the main character of the series, Bellry Zenom, and that also goes for the main female lead herself, Ida. While she certainly is a pretty face, I really couldn't tell you all that much about her character, aside from the fact that everybody seems to respect her a great deal, and they always want to impress her. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. Just another standard episode with a lot of crazy space battles, animated really well, and just the prospect that they were going to have a third party involved in this brand new war, which this is nothing new for Gundam. We've seen multiple parties at war all the time, so I can't wait to see where this is going. And I think the biggest highlight, though, really, aside from like all of the story-based stuff in the battles, is that we actually got to see this brand new backpack that the G-Self was using, which is this Assault Pack, which is one that was teased in the ending of the show. And maybe I'm just a little disappointed by it, maybe just a bit, because it doesn't really do much. It's basically there, it fires a few lasers, but, you know, when I think of, like, super upgraded mega backpacks on a mobile suit, the first one that pops into my head is the one that appeared in 0083 Stardust Memory, which was seen at the very end of the series. The main pilot, Ko Araki, I believe was his name, his Gundam had this huge, almost backpack-like attachment, which was, like, 10 times the size of the assault pack seen in this one, and it had way more weapons, and it was just way more impressive. But then again, this is only the first time that we've actually seen the assault pack in use, so hopefully they'll do something a little bit more with it in the future. Otherwise, to me, this was just an okay episode, but you should definitely stick around if you really want to see some badass mecha battles and you're a fan of old-school Gundam anime, or you've been following Reconguista NG. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 3 out of 5, just kind of an average one, but still really entertaining. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And before you leave, please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Gundam Reconguista NG. What do you think of the brand new forces which are getting ready to invade? Who do you think they're related to, and how do you think that's going to change with the story in this brand new Gundam anime series? Remember guys, before you leave, you can also subscribe to our channel if you have not already. You can do that by clicking on the channel icon right up here, and you can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.